The history of coffee. Hello and welcome to Crazy Food History, where we explore the world of food and drink. With its enticing smell and energizing taste, coffee has become a drink that millions of people all over the world love. From a small plant in Ethiopia to a worldwide phenomenon, it has a fascinating story of exploration, trade, and cultural importance. In this video, we'll tell you about the fascinating history of coffee, including where it came from, how it spread across continents, and what effect it had on society, plus how it changed over time to become the worldwide craze it is today. The ancient coffee forests can tell how coffee spread around the world. Ethiopia had these forests, because Ethiopia is thought to be where coffee was first made. Kaldi's story did happen in Ethiopia. The story of Kaldi cannot be true in every way, but the most believable part of his story was that coffee beans come from Ethiopia. Ethiopian legend says that Kaldi was the first person to see the potential of coffee beans. The story of coffee starts with a goat herder named Kaldi in Ethiopia. He notices that after eating the red berries, his goat was more active and lively. Everyone was dancing. Then Kaldi himself tries these beans. He decided it was because of the berries on a certain tree, and because of this his animals did the strange things. After that he told a monk about what he had seen. "Who threw these red berries into the fire? They smell great." Later he boiled these coffee beans in water to make a drink. He came up with an idea that kept him going all day long. The Arabian Peninsula was the first place where coffee was sold and grown. By the 1500s, coffee was being grown in the Yemeni area of Arabia. It spreads to Egypt, Persia, Turkey, and Syria in the 1600s. Now, coffee was no longer used in homes, but also in many public places called Qahveh Khaneh, coffee shops. Coffee shops became more than just places to hang out and drink. It's also a place where people can talk and share information. That's why it was called a school of wise. Africa is where the first coffee plants were grown. After this, coffee was chewed raw, packed with caffeine, and made into wine, which is known as the Arabian wine. Later, when people from different African tribes began to move to Arabia, coffee trees were left in Ethiopia. Farmers in Arabia got coffee seeds from Africa. Yemen was the first place where trees were grown. This is how coffee made its way to Arabia, and Arabians used to drink coffee when it was first made. After that, it was used to make a drink by boiling coffee beans in water, which turned the water yellow. By the 16th century, there were better ways to make it, when they put some cardamom, cinnamon, and cloves in it to make it taste better. By the end of the 1600s, coffee had made its way to Europe through trade. In a short amount of time, coffee spread across Europe and became popular everywhere. But people are suspicious and afraid of the new drink that has been called Satan's design. As time went on, coffee shops became places where people met and socialized. In the 17th century, people in Europe drank coffee instead of beer and wine. Europeans were big fans of coffee and worked hard to spread it all over the world. Those who switched from wine to coffee, the quality of their work went up because they felt more active and full of energy. In the middle of the 17th century, 300 coffee houses attracted the attention of well-informed customers. They were like businessmen, shippers, middlemen, and artists. During the time out, many people ran coffee shops as their business. Malta Steaks was the first place in Europe to serve coffee. From French Guiana, coffee made its way to Brazil in 1727. When Francisco del Meio Paeta solved the land dispute between the French and Guiana, he was a very important person. He won over the wife of Guiana's governor. He started sneaking the seed across the border with her help. It looks like it's because of work that he started to plant the first coffee tree in the state of Para. At first, it was only used for home purposes, but as time went on, people in the United States and Europe wanted it more and more. Brazil had a great climate, so by 1820, almost 30% of the world's coffee was grown in Brazil. Now Brazil is one of the top countries that makes coffee, and because Brazil's coffee beans were less dense and had a chocolatey roast taste with less acidity, they were used to make coffee. At the end of the 1600s, people brought coffee to India. Chikamagalur was the first place in India where coffee was known to have been grown. But this wasn't the most well-known place in the cute hill town. Most likely, Baba Budan told the story of coffee, because he stole the 7 coffee beans from Yemen and brought them back to India. Back then, it was against the law to take coffee beans out of Arabia. He grew these seeds in the Chandragiri Hills, which are in the state of Karnataka. In 1907, the Indian Coffee Board was set up to improve the status and reputation of coffee. This board did its job by doing the right research and teaching, because it tried to keep these places from making too much coffee, where coffee was first grown and where it came from. In the middle of the 1800s, French missionaries started the first coffee plantation in Vietnam, but the first coffee plantations began at Ninh Binh and Quang Binh in 1888. Vietnam sought to make the second most coffee in the world. After the Vietnam War, coffee beans began to grow slowly. Because private farming spread out so it could make more money, the Robusta coffee was mostly grown in Vietnam, which is known for its strong, bitter taste and high level of espresso. Then this country moved quickly to plantations for economic reasons. At the moment, Vietnam sends out almost 1 million tons of coffee. When coffee was a big hit all over the world, it's because coffee tech is getting better and better. The European government thinks that coffee is a good way to make a lot of money. Even though coffee became well known quickly, in the New World, it began to look like a tasty drink. Every day, more and more people in the New World want to drink coffee, and it was thought to be the most civilized drink until 1773. When the demand for coffee around the world was going up, outside of Arabia, there was a very rough competition. The eastern counties are where a lot of coffee beans grow. They knew which beans were the best in the world. Still, coffee came from all over the world. Many people who trade in slaves think up ways to grow coffee. As time went on, the coffee grain grew and made its way to Indonesia. Soon, coffee plants and trees would be grown all the way to Sumatra and Celebes Island. Around the middle of the 17th century, people began to move to the New World. Coffee was brought to America by the British. And you may be shocked to hear that tea was more popular among early Americans than coffee, but it does make sense. After a few years, coffee has become a big part of American culture, society, and daily life. Some cities in the U.S. are thought to be the most depressing places to drink coffee. A rough estimate is that New Yorkers drink 7 times more coffee than people in other U.S. cities. In 1714, the young coffee plant was a gift from the mayor of Amsterdam to King Louis of France. The king told the gardeners in Paris to plant it in the Royal Botanical Garden, but the king's wish didn't come true because of bad weather and an uprooter. They wanted to kill all the coffee seedlings in Paris. The seedlings grew well and turned into 18 million coffee trees on the island of Martinique. The seedling was also the parent of all coffee trees, which is another great thing, in the Caribbean, South America, and Central America. So why did more people drink coffee in the United States? Still, compared to the rest of the world, America is a young country with a long history. Americans drink the most coffee in the world because they have the highest standard of living. The British culture was replaced by the revolutionary changes in American culture, which had a big effect. During this time, in 1774, people started drinking more coffee and thought it was un-American to drink tea. By the end of the 18th century, coffee was a crop that could be grown and sold abroad. Hey, that's going to do it for today's video, but please remember to hit the subscribe button to stay tuned for more captivating content on the fascinating stories on our channel. Thanks for watching.